Alrighty, gang stalking at Hawthorne. That was 1352 Euclid Avenue, and this is 224 North Euclid Avenue. And the entity has been engaged in what is psychopathic pacing. So I'm not starting video when they started stalking right now. These diaper-wearing psychopaths engaged in what is stalking, flying over the field, going back over the senior citizen apartment complex where they are stalking. Look at the time. It's 11:46 p.m. where old people are over here, but they're complaining about me being on the side of the library. Remember when Leo engaged in criminal summoning with this department that's stalking? That was an excuse to be in my face with a gun on your hip and a badge on your chest, calling yourself a sergeant, like Sergeant Hall, who's going to prison. She engaged in 2 documented acts of terrorism regarding criminal summoning. She's going to federal prison. While these gang members provide evidence against her, against demons like Leo, against the people of the state, like at 1352 North Euclid Avenue, where the entity is stalking me through the neighborhood at Hawthorne and Euclid, with the airport that's also stalking. The entity is flying over my head in planes, all manner of what is indicating targeting. All right. The ongoing hallmark regarding targeting, as I've shown you in the state of California, is stalking by the gang stalkers that are going by a deceptive misnomer, referring to themselves as law enforcement police officers. And this is not law enforcement. And this is the population that is going to be federally prosecuted. The gang members that are throughout the states are going to federal prison for domestic terrorism. This is P.O.C. And this is the evidence that is putting the domestic terrorist Michael LORENZ. He's not only going to prison, they're going to be subject to mental examinations, routine. The entity that's engaging what is stalking me at Hawthorne and Euclid Avenue is doing so outside of any reasonable basis for any sort of coincidence. They're doing so pursuant to surveillance of my evidence at that, which is going to put demons like Michael LORENZ in prison for a very, very long time. Okay, this is P.O.C. Mike LORENZ and Tracy Banks and Jason Fields, they engaged in targeting. Eric Spencer engaged in targeting while they put money on my head, lying about the fact that I'm alive, getting insurance policies taken out on me, and then the entity that thought that I was going to drop dead by now, or that I was going to be driven crazy by this ongoing unabated program of psychological torture for which Mike LORENZ is going to be federally prosecuted. None of that worked. And so now you're witnessing the documentation regarding the proof of criminal surveillance, which is criminal monitoring by the demon possessed, who engage in psychological torture. That is demonic activity. That's what psychological torture is. This is P.O.C. The ongoing a playlist regarding the psychopathic pacing while they have this pattern of flying in circles around me, like they did right across the street last night, like they did at 1352 North Euclid Avenue today, while I'm coming from Upland, California. The entity's engaging in this, and this is also the evidence that's going to have all the gang members, like Sergeant Hall, like Jay Montez. Jay Montez doesn't have to get out and pace. You know that he's pacing because the people of the state are under that fake sun on B Street. The demons are stalking by helicopter above me on B Street. The fake sun is over me, and Jay Montez is sitting inside of a police vehicle that says Ontario Police. He's engaged in pacing with that entity with impossible light. He is fully engaged in psychopathic pacing, and he will be subject to mental examinations just like every other gang member. This is 24-hour surveillance, and they're going to prison. This is what the demons possessed engage in. From that distance, molesting me over here with impossible light, they're targeting. Those are the people of the state that are going to be federally prosecuted as domestic terrorists. They're vagina monitors. They're violent sex offenders. And that is exactly what is necessarily published all over in the database, which shall be the P.O.C., used on an international basis in order to make sure that you can protect your state, you can protect your company, you can protect your community, you can protect whatever it is that you're interested in with regard to this entity that maintains no constitutional rights whatsoever. From accessing information about terrorists like Mike LORENZ, and it will also be a matter of what is adjudication, by the way. But you're talking about what you can reference. You can block out the demons if you want to. They have no means of protection from discrimination and equal protection. There is no such thing. But first of all, they're the entity. It's criminal activity in furtherance of murder. They were caught doing it. And moreover, you're going to exclude what are the demon possessed, and everybody knows who they are now. You can literally look them up and bar them, and you don't even have to talk to them about it. This is one of the ways in which the P.O.C. is going to be used. This is psychopathic pacing. They're going to be published all over the internet. They already are. They're going to be published. They are the people of the state. And that is the entity that does nothing other than the government, that does nothing other than incriminate the people of the state, like I said at the outset. This is the implosion of gang stalking. This is the end of what the Nephilim have been doing in this country. This is P.O.C. All right, this is the mentally ill, and they're going by company names: Sarah's Regis Group, Metro 102 Apartments, John Stewart Senior Citizen Senior Citizen Apartment Complex, El Bacone. This is the Mule Cart Smokehouse. This is the entity that's engaging at Wells Fargo. These are company names I'm going to federally prosecute. All right, this is P.O.C. using the channels of interstate commerce. They're stalking on the roads and the highways. They're stalking in the sky space. They're stalking and monitoring on the internet. All right, and they're doing so in the specific environment. All right, it is currently, I want to make sure that this is clear, it's 11:52 p.m. The evidence of the entity stalking me at what, 1352 North Euclid Avenue, and then following me here to what is 224 North Euclid Avenue, that's the prosecution of the U.S. government. The Ontario Police Department is being disbanded. The airport's being shut down. These terrorist leaders that are at the heads of these departments, including Paul Leon, are being federally prosecuted. This is P.O.C.